Hello and welcome to the Learning Guitar series. This is episode 9. In episode 7 and 8 we introduced the C shape, and we discussed, and also like with the help of the PDFs, we studied the scale, the union scale that goes with it, and of course the intervals, triads, etc. And in lesson 8 we looked at the arpeggios. Now in lesson 9 we look at the chords that we can develop from this particular shape. This week I'm going to use the shape of F, and for those of you that never seen this lesson, I'm not going to discuss again the theory on how I build chords. The PDFs are kind of self-explanatory, but if you need more theoretical background, you might want to refer to lesson 3 and lesson 7, where I actually discuss the theory behind vertical structures and chords more at length. As usual, you will find a PDF. My suggestion is that, I don't know, you have it in front of you as I talk about it, or if you want, you can print it, although, might not be necessary. It's nice to have it in digital anyway. So you can follow, what I'm talking about. As a chord, I mentioned this before, I like to kind of think chords in two different ways, just to cover two different types of situation. The first one is if I am in a duo situation. So say when you're comping for a singer or for a brass player, in which case you're also carrying a bass duty, okay? And in that case I have a bunch of chord shapes that I like to use, which all include bass references on the first and the second string for that purpose. So in this case we're going to see a bunch of shapes which have the root note, or its fifth, or its third, or its major 7 that I can use as bass notes and passing notes. And also I have a bunch of chords that I like to use, smaller chords, say like on the top 3-4 strings, which instead I like to use when there is a bass player in the band, so I don't have to play big chords all the time. Let's go straight into it, and this week I'm going to do it in the key of F. Okay. As I suggested before, you might want to change this on a daily basis so that your photographic memory improves. At the same time, obviously, as I'm playing chords which might not have the root note, this week I'm going to use, say, a drone, a pedal of F, so that you always have a reference of what the root note would be. In that way, you are also training your ears. So let me get the pedal down. There you go. So the first thing we're looking at is, this is not maybe like the kind of chord that when I'm strumming, say with a singer, for example, acoustic guitar, probably this is not the kind of shape I would go for. It's not exactly a comfortable one for me, okay? But there are a lot of interesting shape that comes out from this C major shape, and they're very, very musical. So let's dig into it. This is our starting point, 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, and I'm going to discuss this by intervals like I always do, okay? This is an interesting shape, 1, 3, 5, 7. Very nicely sounding. 1, 9, 5, 7. So this series of chords is using the middle 4 strings, okay? Major 7. And the 9th. 1, 3, 6, 7. So 1, 3, 6, 7. That's one of my favorite, probably. 1, 3, 6, 1. So you can kind of exercise it this way if you want. These are all F major chords, okay? 1, 3, 6, 9. Now we have a bass, and then we have 5, 7, 3. Even an easier one, 1, 2, 5, 7, 3. So basically like it's a barré with 4 strings and the bass. 1, 3, 6, 7, 3. This is an evolution of this. We did before, but now we're flattening the last finger, so we have a 5-string kind of chord. 1, 2, 6, 7, 3. This is very nicely sounding. These are now 5 strings type of chords, right? 1, 2, 6, 9, 3. 1, 2, 5, 9, 3. practice them as a sequence. Now we're going to simple triad. So 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 6. Okay. This is also a nice sounding one. So this is 1, 6, 9, 3. Right now I'm playing them with a pick, but obviously you can play this with finger picking technique and practice your finger picking at the same time, okay? 1, 5, 9, 3. That's how I would exercise it in a way, like it's a bit like trying to write music at the same time. Now we move to a series of shapes which have a fifth in the bass. So in the PDF you'll have a white circle with a root note, but that's just for reference. So that's 5, 3, 6, 1. Okay? And the drone is giving the reference now for the F. So this is 5, 3, 5, 7. 5, 3, 6, 9. And again, this can be practiced as a sequence. Then I have 3 shapes on the designed on the first 4 strings. So this is 5, 7, 3, 6. Because you could always do 5, 1, 3, 6. 5, 6, 3, 5. 5, 6, 2, 5. And again, you can try it. 6 strings. 5, 6, 9, 5, 7, 3. Big chords. And with this we go to page 2 of the PDF. Here we have a couple of 3 notes inversion. So this is like 3, 5, 1. And this is a first inversion for this shape, which I'm sure you're familiar with. And the second one is 5, 1, 3, which again is an inversion of this. Then you have 5, 7, 3. These are the kind of chords I would use if there is a bass. And also these are these last 3 strings kind of chords, very useful when you're playing funky music or rhythm, lots of rhythm. So this is 5, 7, 3. 5, 9, 3. 6, 9, 3. 6, 7, 3. 6, 1, 3. 6, 1, 5. Again, this you could play it as an exercise, and it will look like this. 5, 9, 3, 6, 9, 3. 6, 9, 3, 6, 7, 3. 6, 1, 3. 6, 1, 5. Now I have a couple of chords where we have the third, and then we're using last 2 strings. Okay, so this is 3, 1, 5. So that's another inversion. 3, 7, 5. In theory, you could do also 3, 9, 5. Now we have a sequence of chords which have the bass in the 7th. So here, so that's my root note and that's my 7. So this finger picking again. So basically that's a triad, double triad with the 7 in the bass. Useful if you do those kind of passages. Right, the bass passing notes. Then we have 5, 1, 7, 3. 5, 3, 6, 1. 7, 3, 6, 7. 7, 3, 6, 9. Again, 5 notes, 5, 7, 9, 5, 7, 3. And again, very comfortable for passing note reasons. That's 6 in the bass, 7 in the bass. After that we have 3-4 chords again using the top 4 strings. This is 5-7-3-5. Now with a third in the bass. 3-1-2-5. 3-1-3-6. 3 octave 6-1. So now we're looking at, again, that's your root note, that's your root note. So you could have these are above F chords, right? We say 3-3-6-9, 3-3-6-9-5. Again, at this stage, you might even want to start trying connecting the shapes, right? But first of all, study these particular shapes. So that would be the shape of E, shape of D, and as you can see, I'm trying to keep my bass going. 1, 3, 5. Okay. Once I'm done with the PDF, I want to show you a few exercises you can do. So in the last page, again, you have some rootless shapes, very comfortable on the top 4 strings, very comfortable if there is a bass player. This is 3-6-7-3, very nice sounding. 3-6-9-3. Some third in the bass, 3-5-1-5. 3-2-5-1-5. 3-6-1-4. This, of course, is a nice companion for this. This is 3-6-9-5. 3-6-1-5. 2-6-1-5. 2-6-1-3, 2-6-1-4. So as you can see, and that's it for the PDF. And I encourage you, to create your own designs if you want. I think at this point you understood the logic of how I'm building chords. I mean, and this is not like an original concept. I'm basically basing the entire idea on intervals. Some of the chords I'm extracting from the scale itself. A bit, I don't want to sound disrespectful by mentioning Alan Oswald in this approach, as in extracting, chords from scales, but there is some of that approach to it. And I also like to think of it in practical terms, as I said, like if I need a bass in my chord because maybe there is no bass in the ensemble, or if I don't. There are different ways you can exercise this, and the best way, in my opinion, is to choose a set of strings and move across those. So, a bit like I did before. Let's say that we're going to use the first string, third, fourth, and fifth. Okay, and this is my F chord. I know that for shape 2, I have a bunch of chord shapes. So for D, that use the same strings. For example, this one. And now also for this shape, I have a bunch of chord shapes who uses the same type of strings. Okay, and the idea is, in a way, is simple. You just try. And see what you like. Same thing, you can take the middle 4 strings. In that case, maybe my F chord looks like this. Right. This is. shapes for me, okay? And same thing, you can apply it to the bottom. Just in this case, again, we're giving for granted this kind of sound in the background. F major 7, you don't know, 9. And you can always try to have a melody going on, it's like a scale. Middle 4 strings. Seventh in the bass. Sixth in the bass, root note. That's a major 7. I hope it makes sense what I'm trying to convey here in terms of how to exercise it, because of course, like by now, if we take the PDF from lesson 3 and the PDF from lesson 6 and the PDF from lesson 9, then now there's a lot of chord shapes, and in a way, I don't know if trying to memorize them is a kind of system, at least it never worked for me. I tended to forget them the day after, kind of stuff. So I always try to kind of make some music out of it, like trying to use them straight away, okay? And I don't know, again, like that's how I see it. I don't mean to imply that that's the best thing you can do about it, but I think like something that makes it rational and probably very usable is this idea of choosing a set of strings, maybe like 3 strings, 4 strings, 5 strings, and trying to move the same chord as in key across the various shapes, and trying to build melodies with it for as much as possible, you know. Okay, I'm gonna take a short break because, as I said before, my camera only has a 20 minutes lifetime kind of thing, so I have to record these in blocks. And after that, I'm gonna show you some more exercises you can do to study these chords, and also we're putting together these entire C shapes. So we're gonna look at some practice we can do in terms of playing, where we're putting together chords, arpeggios, and the scale. Okay, see you soon. So welcome in part 2, and in this section we're going to look at how to create some exercise that can combine the 3 shapes we learned so far. This time I thought a good progression to work with would be maybe E major in the shape of C, hence here is your root note, moving into F, moving to G, so here is your bass, your root note, shape of D, moving into B flat in the shape of E. Here is your root note. So we have basically this. Okay. Now, in terms of chord exercises, you can do something similar to what we discussed before. Choose a set of strings and try and move in between the shapes, staying on the same set of strings. I'll give you an example. Let's say we're going to use 3rd string, like the middle 4 strings, okay? So for E, I could use this. For G, I could use this. For B flat, I could use this or this, right? Or with a 5th in the bass. So just to explain it again. That's E major 7 with a root in the bass. Now I'm basically looking for a G chord that, from this particular shape, that allows me to use those strings. And this would do. That's a 5th in the bass, root note, 3rd, major 7. when I move into B flat, again, I'm looking for something in the bass. So it could be the third, and that would do, it could be the fifth. I have seriously a lot of options. But as an exercise, we try and keep it simple, kind of. And correct, if possible. Again, that's E major, G major, B flat major, maybe the third in the bass. Same thing, maybe like using maybe the top string and third, fourth, and fifth string. So maybe in this case I have the fifth in the bass. For G, I have the third in the bass. For B flat, I have the root note. I'll do it again. So, fifth in the bass for E major. Third in the bass for G. Root note for B flat. Nothing else there. I'm using this also the fifth string. Right. So try and kind of compose that way. It kind of helps in remembering the chords somehow. Okay. Same thing we could do with the bottom four strings. And so say for E, we could use this. Or, as I said, there's many, okay? Let's say for the sake of argument, we're gonna use this one. So 3, 5, 7, 3, 5, 7, 3. For G, major 7, maybe the 9, 2 thirds. So these are all possible G chords. B flat. This would do. What's interesting, for example, in this case, in this particular shape, B flat, right? 6, 3, 5, and 9. If I actually move it a semitone down in the key of E, that's now 9, 6, root note, and 5. So I can have parallel motions, okay? So this would sound like, I don't know, E, G, E flat, E. I hope it makes sense, right? And you come across this, similar shape which become a different chord as you move them, as you transpose them, because that's the nature of the guitar, is a transposing instrument. So you can have all this very interesting combination going on. Okay, I hope it's kind of clear. Well, if it's not, feel free to drop some questions or in the comment section. Okay. Now let's look at a way to actually practice instead melodically the entire thing. So we got some chords, we got arpeggios and scales. I'm going to use this progression. I'm just literally going to loop that progression, and all we're doing after is simply trying to play melodically, in my case improvising, I guess, over that progression. You might want to stretch those chords in terms of how many bars you're doing for each, depending on how much your brain in terms of time and moving from one chord to the next. Let me see. In my case, I'm going to do this. So that's E, G, B flat, I'm going to do 4 bars, so it's kind of even. and I'm actually probably keeping most of it, and I left also the mistakes, because again, when we're practicing, when we're playing like this, we're trying stuff. We're not reiterating what we kind of already know in a way. When we're playing live, when we're performing, we might be more safe in the way we play, although I'm not probably part of that kind of category of musicians. But nevertheless, this is the time when to try out things. So making mistakes is part of the process. You see what's you see what's going wrong in a way, and you try and address it. As I mentioned before, guitar is a problem-solving issue at times. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the lesson as much as I enjoyed doing this. Next lesson, we're going to look at the shape of A. So we're moving forward, and we're almost done with the 5 shapes. At the same time, as you know, when it comes to scales, we're also looking at the 3 notes per strings kind of approach, and we're kind of mixing and matching it, okay? Trying to cover as much ground as possible. So I hope you enjoyed it. In the meanwhile, I hope you are all safe, obviously. And it's been a pleasure as usual, and feel free to leave comments or questions if you have any, and I shall see you next time. Thank you.